You have excellent taste. Happy Monday, everyone. So Washington officially hit 100 degrees for the first time in almost 8 years. And it was so hot, President Biden is decomposing at twice the normal rate. It was so hot, Jerry Nadler filled his pants with all 31 flavors. Ew. It was so hot, instead of Botox, Nancy Pelosi injected her face with soft serve. And it was so hot, Barack Obama moved back to Kenya. What? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, anyway, the CNN presidential debate is just days away, and a lot of people are wondering what kind of drugs Joe Biden will be on for the debate. Well, if he only knew someone who might be knowledgeable in this area. We've also learned that Joe Biden has a massive debate prep team that includes 16 people. Why so many? Well, full disclosure, only 4 people are there to help with the debate. The other 12 are there in case Joe needs an organ donor. Political commentators suggest Biden smile more at the debate to avoid resting old face, which would be an improvement from his rest in peace face. But there is a downside to Joe smiling. When he smiles, he often looks more like the guy Biden is trying to avoid. And if he holds the smile for more than 8 seconds, we'll all assume he's his pants. New York City held a Fat Beach Day to create the accepting environment for the plus-size community. And no one was happier for the event than these hungry fellas. To the monologue. Boy, that audience just faded after the 4th joke. What's wrong with you people? All right. A fact-checking website called Snopes, which usually leans further left than a one-legged rollerblader, just branded as false the explosive idea that Trump once called neo-Nazis in Charlottesville very fine people. Wow. What's next? A 2024 expose about this young, up-and-coming singer called Elvis Presley? Because while the left has been spreading this crap like jam across Brian Stelter's chin, we've been calling it out from the start. It's only taken the left 7 years to finally cop to the fact that the very fine people hoax was actually a hoax, which coincidentally is the same amount of time it takes Joe Biden to find his way out of a walk-in closet. But for the corporate press, this might actually be fast-breaking news. They're still catching up on this new dance craze called the Macarena. But what's most disturbing? If you recall the dim, dark days of 2020, Joe Biden cited the very fine people quote from Trump as his reason for running for president. Well, that and hoping to learn if the Oval Office cushions really were stain-resistant. But he said that despite all the audio and video evidence showing that it didn't happen. So if you were to say that Joe Biden's entire presidency is predicated on a lie that he and the media sold the public, you'd actually be speaking more truth than Biden was when he launched that presidency. And you do so without needing an Adderall suppository. But as I always say, just because you've cured one hoax, you brace for another one. In that Thursday night's CNN presidential debate, we're about to see this latest one sprout like a blackhead in the folds of Jerry Nadler's back fat. Yep, January 6th is about to be sold to us as the most significant date since 9/11, December 7th, and July 4th rolled into one. If they made it any more of a holiday, there'd be a mattress sale. So expect Jake and Dana to push January 6th like a hot dog cart up 6th Avenue. Because of Joe's disastrous policies, that's all they got. So if you are voting against Trump due to this insurrection narrative, ask yourself this: did I fall for the very fine people narrative too? And all the other hoaxes we've detailed on this show, like Crossfire Hurricane, the fake laptop, the P-tape, on and on and on? Be honest with yourself. Did I hear Trump foment any violence with my own faculties? You didn't, because like the fine people hoax, it was edited. Trump didn't try to topple the government or encourage it. In fact, Trump said to protest peacefully. But Joe will bleat on about January 6, 2021. He doesn't have many January 6th left. But it was one day. Unlike all the protests we've had, from Antifa to the pro-Hamas crowd doing millions in untold damage, while the likes of Alvin Bragg dropped the charges like a hot potato. Who am I kidding? He's never dropped a potato in his life. So how should Trump handle yet another hoax? Should he snark at Joe that he's too old to tell what's true anymore? When Joe calls Trump a convicted felon, should Trump pivot to Hunter? I can't believe I'm going to say this, but perhaps he should quote former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo.
The Attorney General's case in New York, frankly, should have never been brought. And if his name was not Donald Trump, and if he wasn't running for president, I'm the former AG in New York, I'm telling you that case would have never been brought. And that's what is offensive to people.
And believe me, this guy's an expert on what's offensive to people. But Trump could add that, unlike the Biden family, the charges against him weren't real, but created in an unprecedented fashion to keep Trump from being here at this debate. This was election interference in plain sight, using the justice system to subvert democracy. Subvert democracy. And surely Biden's mental fitness will be brought up Thursday night, but you just know so will Trump's. And you know what the media does to a perfect, brilliant, beautiful statement that Trump makes.
They take a perfect, brilliant, beautiful statement that I make. I go for 2 hours without teleprompters. And if I say one word slightly out, they say, he's cognitively impaired. Whereas Biden can run into walls. He can fall off the stage. He can fall up the stairs. He falls up.
It's funny because it's true. But President Trump, if you're watching, and I know you are, maybe kill Joe with a little kindness. You could say, with all due respect, for your sake, Joe, and for the sake of the nation, you should just go. There are just some things you can't do anymore, like walking and talking, and managing the leadership of the free world, and also taking a leak in under 8 minutes. But maybe don't say that, Mr. Trump. Perhaps just keep it short and sweet and say, Joe, you had a good run. 50 years on the government dime. Maybe it's time, Mr. President, to give this country a break. We all could use one. Let's welcome tonight's guest. This law professor's favorite drink is a pina colada. Fox News contributor and author of the new book, The Indispensable Right, Jonathan Turley. His kids were disappointed when they found out they weren't adopted. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. Her brain wants free markets, but her heart wants free soup. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat Tiff. And even his shadow can lift more weight than you. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, former NWA world champion, Tyrus. So, Jonathan, congratulations on the new book. It's been out for a couple days. I'm sure it's amazing. I bet it's smart, clear, and honest.
You know, actually, Chapter 6 is all the jokes that Greg stole from it. You know, just taking out the word federalist and putting in hooker doesn't fool anyone. You know, you realize that, right?
Can't take the hooker out of federalism. That's what they always say. So, this is kind of a broad monologue, but what do you think about the debate hosts in the sense that they have all of this emotional, ideological baggage? Like, they do not like Trump. How are they going to rise above that?
Well, it's sort of hard when you compared one of the participants to Hitler.
Yes.
You sort of have a lot of runway to gain before you get to the point where, like, okay, he's keeping an open mind on that. But it'll be very interesting because all the expectations is this is going to be a canned hunt, that there's going to be no one there that's going to give him a good shake. So I'm hoping that they're going to defy those expectations, but we'll see. Because there's a lot of stuff that they have to ask Biden about. A few little things like why you lied about not knowing about your son's, all of his business dealings. And, of course, really, your uncle was eaten by cannibals? Actually, I got to tell you, I'm much more interested in that one.
No, but I think you're right. There's a lot of questions that they have to ask Biden, and I doubt they're going to bring up the Fine People hoax, but they should. Jamie, you know, we talk a lot about Biden's cognitive impairment a lot, but do you think that's the big story here? And you notice I left out an insult about your cognitive impairment.
I did. It's weird. We're all waiting for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I think they made a huge mistake when they are trying to go after Trump's, like a problem with Trump's cognition. Mm-hmm. Like he should have gone after something he'd be strong in, like, oh, let's have a staring contest. You know, like something Biden would be better at.
Yes.
I honestly, sometimes when I'm watching Biden, I was watching on my laptop and I thought my internet was slow and it was just Biden being frozen. That's just what he's like. And I'm just thinking like the spin, you know, they're like, man, Biden has dementia. They're like, no, he always has a fresh take. Like he fell up the stairs. He's trying parkour. Yeah, I worry. You know how they say that phrase like, oh, he's got 1 foot in the grave. In the grave. Biden has 2.
I'm sorry. Did you just say 1 foot in the grave?
I think I might have.
Yeah, you're subliminally getting violent towards him. Good. Good. Let that come out.
Yeah, I think I did. But yeah, he's too old. He's got to step down, and he needs one person on each arm to help him so he doesn't fall.
Cat. So these on CNN, this guy said that Biden should smile more. Do you think it's wise for him to smile given the state of the country, like good old time Joe?
Right, that's the thing. I think smiling more implies that the person knows when to smile.
Yeah.
Like, if you give him the advice and that's in his head, like just smile more, then yeah, he might try to throw some in where it's not the most appropriate.
Yes.
I think, you know, I think that's the least of his worries. But again, I think the bar really, I've been saying this over again, the bar really is so low. And it is even, you know, these debate moderators, obviously, as you pointed out, when you've set the bar for yourself at like comparing this guy to Hitler, you kind of know where your point of view is and stands. It'll be more difficult. But it's even more difficult, again, when you really do feel like it's so easy to look like you're being mean to Biden. And he is the leader of the free world, so he should be, you shouldn't be in that situation. But you really, it really is hard, because that's so many times when reporters are interviewing him, he'll say something so off the wall that they just kind of move on because they're like, wait, is that true? What is that? And people don't actually push him on it because it's not like a normal conversation that you can have with a person. You say, wait, I don't think that that's true. So I think that there's going to be a lot of that regardless. And
special counsels do the same thing. They just move on.
Right.
Rather than putting him in a difficult position in front of a jury.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. So if that's the situation with the special counsel, how are we going to expect any different from a debate on CNN? I certainly don't, unfortunately.
All right, Tyrus, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts. Since apparently he's watching, because you saw the president ask for a drug test. You heard it here first, never afraid. Which is true. I feel like, I don't know if it's going to be a bigger scandal, because two things will happen if the drug test is, if they're both tested afterwards. One, we'll know where the cocaine came from, because that's the only thing that gets you up like that. Like, you look at anybody, like, there's a great movie with Denzel. He was drunk out of his mind. Like, what are we going to do? And his drug dealer luckily showed up in time, goes, give him some cocaine. It's a cure-all. And he could testify great for about 45 minutes before his conscience showed up. This thing we're going to see is not a debate. He's going over the questions right now. The only thing is Tapper and them's only objective, because they have created this martyrdom to where journalism, integrity, and all that stuff doesn't mean anything, because they have to stop Hitler. He's going to destroy our democracy, so we're going to do our part by going at him. So every question, guarantee, will be as a convicted felon, as a misogynistic, you were convicted of sexual harassment or the assault, all these things, and you have all these court cases. How do you feel it's fair to run they're going to keep going and going until they get him, because they're anticipating him to fight back. And then Biden's will be these little lob questions about, like, how were you feeling when you were able to make sure that poor students' loans were paid? Like, was that difficult for you? And I guarantee you I'm only watching for one reason, to see how many times he stutters saying convicted fellas, and then remembers to smile.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.